Hi friends, today we are with Catherine Borges, the woman warrior of Salida. That's her title. Um, and she has been friend from long time since I have been participating in Salida Chamber of Commerce and also been at different events at Salida. So she has guided me throughout and just told me many things about Salida. So we would have um, kind of a introduction of Catherine Borges and how she feels about Salida. Catherine Borges, she is currently a member of Planning Commission at Stanislaus County, and also she is the president of Salida Chamber of Commerce. And at many different roles, she is also with Salida Rotary Club, and I think you will see her everywhere in Salida, especially she has been recently recognized for her graffiti program, which I think city of Modesto also recognized that. So that's a great achievement. And also she is much more part with the law enforcement, especially with our sheriff, Adam Christensen. So I will just now start talking with Catherine. So Catherine, let us know how you came to Salida. I think you have been born in Fresno, and how you moved to Salida.
Right, so I'm a Fresno native,
Okay.
and we moved here 24 years ago now.
Okay.
And we lived in Modesto for a year and a half in an apartment, and then started looking at homes. And this home where I'm being filmed in, we bought this home 23 years ago.
Okay.
So I originally, we chose Salida because it was a nice, quiet little community, and it had good schools. And again, it's just quiet to live here most of the time, except the train's kind of noisy sometimes. But no, I love it, and I don't plan to ever move.
Oh, that's good. So let me move to some recent events which Salida have seen, like especially the topic about annexation of Salida by Modesto. So let us know when you have been in this picture or with this movement against against the annexation by Modesto. So
Like, how did I get into it?
yeah.
So, I never planned to get into politics. I actually was very apathetic about politics.
Yeah, everyone does.
Yeah, it's hard not to be. So, let's see, where did it start? Actually, let me start a little earlier, is when we first moved here in 93, Modesto, 4 years later, actually tried to annex Salida then. And I had little toddlers. I was completely oblivious. I had no idea that they tried to annex Salida. And to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have cared as much if they had annexed it back in 97 when they tried the last time. And they also tried to annex Wood Colony at the same time. But over the years, in watching the politics in Modesto, it made me glad I lived in Salida and that I wasn't part of it. That was my personal reason for not wanting to be annexed. That was a primary reason. Plus, we would have, Modesto has incorporated around 1870. Well, the town was founded in 1870. And so they've had all of these years to set up ordinances as a city. They have more taxes than we do in Salida. There's just a whole realm of reasons. I call it, the American Revolution was fought for taxation with no representation. Okay. If we were annexed into Modesto, I feel we would be have taxation with extremely little representation, because we would be sucked into we would be a minority in District 1, so on a majority Modesto council, with Modesto. And so for Salida to have any say, or for us to, if there was any kind of issue, we'd be on the losing side. So when Mayor Marsh took office in March of 2012, there was a runoff election between him and Brad Hahn. And somewhere between March and May, I heard, I think on the radio, that he wanted to annex Salida. Okay. And I said, Oh my goodness, no. What do I do? So I went to a Salida MAC meeting in June of 2012, and they had an opening on the MAC Council. So I joined the MAC Council the next month, and then I started getting the word out about the annexation to the residents, educating people, and they came to community meetings. What's interesting to me is that Salida residents have many different reasons for not wanting to be annexed. A lot of them want to maintain the identity. They feel that the identity of Salida would be lost. There's places in Modesto that have been annexed in over the years, like La Loma, Shackelford. They have the name still attached to them, but they don't really have a separate identity. And I think that's something that Salidans really wanted to maintain. But, as Harpreet knows, Harpreet took a survey. The survey came out 70% of Salida favors incorporation into a city. So that's a really high number. I think that the number, the percentage for being against annexation would be higher. I think it would be 80 or higher percent.
Okay, but when we think about Salida, as you mentioned that we should have a separate identity. So how in future you think, or the resident of Salida think, that they would be able to maintain that separate identity? Because to do that, either you should be a city or in some kind of different government structure rather than the county. So how you see the future of Salida moving forward in just creating that separate identity?
So for us, I think there's we have three choices, really. Barring annexation of Modesto. So in our three choices, we stay an unincorporated community. But the thing is Modesto is not trying to annex us currently at the present. They haven't completely called it off, but at the same time, they're not in a full force movement for it. And who knows, it could change. Their general plan comes out in 2017, it's supposed to. And also the Chamber of Commerce in Modesto has really pushed for growth in the north and to the west. So that could change. But for us, the two options would be to become a community service district like Mountain House, to where we would have a board and we can start having our tax money be spent on our community. The only drawback with a community service district is you don't have the same powers as a city, in that you still have to get certain things from the county, and it does not protect your boundaries. So Modesto could still annex us, and they could still do partial annexations, and then becoming a city. But we need the revenue. We have to be what's called revenue neutral to be a city. So first, the county has to start giving us our tax dollars back, county. Secondly, then we would also have to save up enough that we're revenue neutral, not a burden on the county.
Okay. But people sometimes think Salida, its population, it's around 13,000.
Yeah.
And the other small cities, for example, Yucson, it has maybe half the population of Salida. So they just think, if Salida want to be city, what are the issues related to that?
So Houston their population is about 88,000 something, and Waterford is also smaller than us. I think they're around 10,000. If I got my dates right, Waterford incorporated in 1969, I think, and Houston 1972. It could be vice versa. Okay. But they were the last two cities in Stanislaus County to incorporate. We have the population in Salida. You need a minimum 10,000 to incorporate, so we could incorporate now. Our biggest issue, I think, is politics and money. Is we need the county to give us our tax dollars back. We need to be revenue neutral, and it'll take a movement by Salida to make this happen, because there's so much that they would like to retain control of here. We have the 99 freeway goes through Salida. We have the rail that goes through Salida. When the Modesto Chamber of Commerce came to Salida in 2013 to present their Pathways to Prosperity, one of the things they complained about, and they said, you need to have sympathy for Modesto because Modesto doesn't have any open space around a freeway to build on. And my reply to that is, why does Salida have to pay the price for 143 years of your bad planning? So I don't agree. We weren't put there for Modesto's greater good. Now, if Modesto wanted to partner with us, that might be something we could do in the future. But they really need to stop with the methods that they've shown, at least in the last 4 years, like water extortion. They still have policies in place with that encourage water extortion. I call it extortion because they will not allow new hookups to their water company unless they get to annex the land. And they bought our water company in 1995, so they hold us hostage with water. It's just really unfair. They don't do that to other communities. They don't do that to Del Rio. Of course they don't do that to Del Rio. They do it to Salida, though. Yeah. But maybe under the new mayor and the new council, hopefully things will change. That's all I can really do is have hope right now.
Just to be fair to this interview, I have to point out to one thing which I just hear a lot, that people think the Salida, it's currently in a stagnant position or it's stuck in position. People don't want to annex in a city, but they cannot do anything currently because of the political environment in the state regarding anti-incorporation, you can think of, and also with CSD, it would take a time and a strong push. So people think like if the Salida would be in this strange situation, so it would make a better argument for people of Modesto to have the Salida annexed in the Modesto, because people would lose that kind of emotion which they have shown in Measure I. So over time, people will think, okay, means you are in this different situation, just come along us, we will just provide you those good jellies and chocolates if you can think of. So what are your comments on that?
So kind of, I think what you're saying is that people might think we're placated and ready to be annexed now. Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
because here's the thing too, and one of the things that I appreciate about the new mayor, Mayor Ted Brandvold, and some of the other new politicians that have come into Modesto is that they realize they need to fix Modesto first. They should not be casting their eyes beyond their boundaries when there is so much. They're on all these Forbes worst lists. Who in Salida in their right mind would say, sign me up for a piece of that? I want to be a part of the worst list. So Modesto has a lot of work to do to turn itself around before they even think about annexing someone else. But the other thing too is no matter what, even if they tried to annex us, if the people of Salida don't want it, because there's just not enough benefit for us overall. I mean, higher taxes, higher laws, higher ordinances, less representation. Again, why would we say yes to this? We could always vote it down. So they can't force annexation on us. The part they can do to us, though, is they could do partial annexations, like go after land that's in our Salida community plan, and that would be harder to fight than a full-out annexation. But I know the people of Salida still would, because that means they'd be taking more of our tax base. We've already done that before with Costco and Kaiser, and the people of Salida are upset about that.
Okay, yeah, that's that's things to consider. So can you just explain to our viewers a little bit about the annexation process or how it works, so that they can have the whole feel of what we are talking about here?
So it's been, forgive me if I get something wrong, because it's been a couple of years since I heavily researched this.
That's fine.
but let's say that Modesto was trying to annex us full scale right now, and it wasn't being contested. So they could do what's called an advisory vote, and we could have a vote, but it's not binding, which means it wouldn't stick. So if the people of Salida came out with a majority against annexation on an advisory vote, it would still, they could still annex us. They could completely ignore it. They could ignore advisory votes. They have advisory votes on their sewer measures, and they ignore those. They've ignored at least 2 of them. So that's not, that's not very, it doesn't carry a lot of weight.
Okay.
But it also kind of depends too on what the mayor would want, because now that Mayor Marsh is gone, Mayor Marsh used to say that he would only honor an advisory vote if it was 60% more against Ensalida against being annexed. I think it would be in the 80s myself, because I have not yet met anyone that wants to be annexed. Granted, they could be avoiding me,
okay.
but and they probably exist. But if they want to live in Modesto that bad, they can always move there. They don't need to try to drag the whole town into it. But anyway, so it would go to a vote. If it got down to it to where Modesto ignored the advisory vote and was still going ahead with annexing us, we could also sign petitions and petition it down. So
basically you are saying that they can have the annexation process moving forward even if there is majority of vote against that annexation by majority of landowners.
Yes.
So that's possible in the whole process. So
well, it would go to either landowners or registered voters. If they were annexing the town outright, it would probably be registered voters.
Okay.
If they're just going for a chunk of Salida, like the Salida Community Plan, it would be landowners. Okay. That's why it's stickier for us if they try to do a partial annexation.
So people of Salida don't have a way at LAFCO commission to oppose it or not be part of Modesto.
They don't have a way until it gets to the very end of the process.
Okay. But still, they they would have a say in
yes.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know the process. As we have just talked about the Salida, you are also involved in the county. So let us know, what about the county? What are the decisions currently you are being part of in the county which are affecting Salida?
You mean like on Planning Commission?
Yeah, on Planning Commission.
Yeah. So Planning Commission, I didn't have anything on Salida until, pretty much all of last year, because when I took office, it was after the Salida Market was on there. So that I wasn't part of that one. But this year we've had 3 things so far. We had the Flory Industries expansion and the Rumble Ag Service. There's a land leveling business going in at Ladd and Stoddard. And both of those passed Flying Commission with flying colors and no opposition. And I have no conflicts of interest. I have no financial interest with either company, and I live far enough away. I'm not close to them that I was able to vote on it. Do you want to talk about the third thing, the housing element?
Yeah, okay. Sure.
So it was just 3 words, but I feel like I accomplished a lot for Salida because at Planning Commission they did a housing element update. And see, there's politics that surround Salida with our Salida Community Plan. There was a Measure E that's very similar to the Measure I, the SOS stamp out sprawl that was on the ballot. And Measure E passed in 2007, and what it does is it forces any residential building in the county to go to a vote of the people. So it makes it expensive for developers, so developers don't want to pay that. So it's supposed to also steer residential growth towards the cities, because this only applies to the county. But Salida's county, Daenerys County, Keys, Empire, we're Grayson, Wesley, all county, right? So that applies to all of us, Knights Ferry. With Salida, though, we had our community plan was also put in as an initiative, and we were supposed to vote on it the same year that Measure E went through. Well, the Board of Supervisors, when Jeff Grover was our supervisor, he pulled it off the ballot and he got it passed so that it would supersede the Salida community plan. So this vote thing doesn't apply to Salida, which makes more of a development focus on Salida. The thing that's holding development back in Salida, though, is a comprehensive EIR. However, the housing element update contained language when I was reading it that said because our Salida Community Plan precedes the Measure E, then the bulk of, those are the three words,
okay.
the bulk of.
That's big words.
Yeah, bulk is a big word. The bulk of low-income housing could be put in Salida. And then there was an attorney who kind of seized upon that, and she said, well, not only that, but you could make it as a condition of a building permit.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
So I made the case at Planning Commission that Salida does not currently have a low-income demographic, and something like that should not be a burden or be put upon Salida to create Salida into a low-income demographic. You know, that affects our self-determination and our status on everything. So the way you can apply for grants, loans, anything like that. So the planning commissioners agreed. They said that they thought that it should be spread out across the county, and so they voted and agreed with me, and we struck out the words "the bulk of."
Okay, that's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, I know, just 3 words, but it does feel big.
Let's come to the Salida Chamber of Commerce, and I think that started around 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
So what are your goals in having that Chamber of Commerce in the small town which we have? And what do you think that Chamber of Commerce would be able to accomplish in Salida?
So wow. I know, edit that.
Yeah, sure.
So Salida used to have a Chamber of Commerce, and it started, I think, maybe in the 1930s. It's pretty old.
Okay.
And then it disbanded in the 80s or the 90s. And that chamber used to do things for Salida, like set up a lighting district and help with other things that affected Salida. So the chamber almost kind of filled the city role, and that's almost like how it is now.
Okay.
So currently what we're doing in the chamber, our chamber was founded though to incorporate Salida. That's our main goal. We have 2 goals: incorporate Salida and support the businesses in Salida. So we're doing things more now to also work with supporting the businesses in Salida. Like we're going to be holding some workshops that are affiliated with the Stanislaus Alliance, and to help the businesses in Salida. And then as far as incorporation goes, we still work on that as we can, but we also do a lot of community-oriented things. Like we have when the Salida Civic wasn't able to do the toy exchange anymore, Christmas toy exchange for needy families, we took it over. And this November, we're planning to have Pictures with Santa to promote Small Business Saturday, so to promote the small businesses in Salida. We help businesses in Salida even if they are not a member of the chamber, but we do hope they would join. We made our rates very affordable. We took Rippon's rates and lowered it. It's very affordable.
It's very cheap.
So we don't want anyone to have an excuse not to join the Salida Chamber. So we try to kind of fill a gap in a community respect, fill a gap in a city respect, and then help the businesses too, as much as we can. One of the services we provide, as you mentioned at the beginning of my introduction, is I'm a graffiti warrior, and and so we provide free graffiti abatement to any business in Salida.
Yeah, that's a big program you ran, and also other people of Salida help in that, because I used to see always in Facebook or at different media centers these photos of graffiti, and there was a war kind of a thing with a couple of you can say them criminals.
They're vandals.
So they have been like running all the city and walls and all those things, so which were damaging. Right. But I think you have been much more active in just helping out law enforcement and catching those criminals. So I think that's good, and thanks for that.
Sure, my pleasure.
So last question. So can we see you as a supervisor in next 5 years?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I just go with the flow, whatever the future holds for me, I go with. So I'm on a county planning commission, and I do always try to think in a county perspective, but Salida is near and dear to my heart, so sure. I will do for Salida whatever I need to do.
Sure, that's good. And thanks for giving us the time and just talking more about Salida and about annexation and what are the people's view about that. And so I think more and more people would be able to understand from where the people of Salida are coming from, because there are a lot of misconception, the people living in Modesto or other areas, like why these guys are stopping development or we are the victims of that. So there is nothing like that. So I think this video would at least be a beginning to clear up any misconception of that, so people can think about that in more clear way and just think about the both sides when they are thinking about this issue. And thanks again, Catherine.
Sure, thank you.
You have given us time, and we would come with another interview in future. And thanks for listening us, seeing us, and giving us your about 25 minutes. Thank you.